Welcome to this Gates presentation at the Hannover Messe. This is an introduction to the Gates Chain2Belt initiative. This is where we give information on the conversion of alternative drive technologies to belt drives. My name is David Clark. I'm the Power Transmission Industrial Replacement Applications Engineering Manager for Gates in Europe, and I will be assisted by Lars Hartmann, one of our application engineers. There will be a question and answer session at the end of this live stream where you can ask questions of myself. I'll answer in English, and Lars, as a native German speaker, will be able to answer in German. Gates are one of the largest belt manufacturers in the world, with over 15,000 employees in 30 countries and 120 locations. We've been manufacturing belts for over 100 years, and we're located throughout the world with a very large number of distribution partners. Our manufacturing sites are based in North America, South America, Europe, Asia, China and Southeast Asia, and we have very large coverage of those markets. What is Chain2Belt? As I've said, it's a conversion of alternative power transmission technologies to belts. The term Chain2Belt is a little bit misleading. While roller chain is the most common conversion, there are also gearboxes, cable drives, direct drives, engineered chain and others which could be converted also. There are four main channels for these types of drives. There's stationary drives at a place of work. You can see in the picture there a conveyor. There's also mobile drives, such as in that combine harvester. Many drives in a combine harvester, but there are a number of drives in other equipment, as well as agricultural. There's also the construction industry and many other mobile drives. Personal mobility, that's 2- and 4-wheeler vehicles, that's bicycles, motorcycles, scooters, quad bikes, and light electric vehicles is also another very good opportunity for a chain-to-belt conversion. And our final channel is vertical lifting. With the increase in the number of warehouses out there, the opportunities for vertical lifting are extremely common at the moment. A little bit about Chain2Belt. Well, belts perform well. They can replace any chain, pretty much any roller chain in nearly every application and every industry. They are efficient, with a good service life, with belt lifetimes up to 3 times more than the equivalent chain, and that gives a good return on your investment. Zero maintenance. You don't need to do any maintenance on a belt drive. It's pretty much a fit and forget. Rust, lubrication free, as per the zero maintenance, because it doesn't degrade over time. It doesn't need lubrication, doesn't need maintenance, shouldn't need retensioning. It's an excellent product to save you time and money. Some of our belts are also anti-static. The Volt series of polychain belts, for example, and PowerGrip GT4, both are anti-static and can be used in areas where ATEX is required. Roller chain, what are the advantages of having a chain drive? Well, they are readily available. Chains have been around for a long time and they're pretty much ubiquitous. They are versatile, there are various lengths, attachments, and you can splice them. They're 95% efficient or more, although that efficiency is affected by the maintenance and lubrication that you use. They have a serpentine capability, so you can use them with multiple pulleys, and you can have counter-rotating shafts running from the same chain. They can accommodate fixed centres. And chains, certainly roller chains, are relatively low cost. Some are much more expensive as you become further and further into the technologies, but certainly standard roller chains are relatively inexpensive. And they are breakable, so you can take them apart and reassemble them. What are the disadvantages though? Well, the lifetime's limited. When you compare a chain life to a belt life, you're definitely going to see superior lifetime within a belt. Multiples of a chain life. They have a high noise level. This is with metal-to-metal contact on a lot of roller chain. Lubrication is going to be required pretty much universally. Some chains don't, but the vast majority of roller chain does. This can also attract dirt, debris, and it can cause environmental contamination if you have oil. You also have to source oil and dispose of oil. So there is quite a high cost of ownership because you need to maintain the chain drives. They are prone to noise and vibration by their nature. The links do contact each other. It has some limitations for high speed. You can't run a chain drive at too high speed. Multi-strand chains, you can certainly get multi-strand chains, but the multiple of the number of strands is not the same as the power rating. So you don't necessarily get twice the rating with 2 strands compared to 1. And chains, of course, do stretch. One of the major drawbacks of a chain is that they stretch, having to be retension and having to be maintained. Belt drives, synchronous belt drives in this case. The advantages, they're maintenance free, no retensioning required, no lubrication. They're clean running. You shouldn't have any debris or significant amounts of debris coming off a belt drive. There's a low cost of ownership because of this. You don't have to spend money maintaining the belt drive, and you don't have to spend money in sourcing and disposing of lubricants. They've got a high power density. If you look at a belt such as polychain carbon, it has a similar or greater density than the equivalent chain. They can be up to 98% efficient. And one thing about that efficiency is you should get the same efficiency throughout its lifetime. So if you get an efficiency when it's new, you should get a very similar efficiency when it is at the end of its lifetime. It's got a wide operating speed range from fractions of an RPM to tens of thousands of RPM. They're widely available. As I said earlier, Gates has a very large number of distribution partners throughout the world, and you're never far away from a Gates belt distributor. You can get accurate positioning with belt drives, both on single direction and multi-direction drives. The interaction between the belt teeth and the pulley grooves is such that whether you're going backwards or forwards, you can get good positioning. They have low vibration because of the rolling action of the belt teeth going into the pulley grooves, and again, they're quieter. They don't have the metal-to-metal contact of a chain. Belts aren't perfect though, there are some disadvantages. One is that for each belt length you need a single manufacturing tool, so a belt with 100 teeth has to have a tool with 100 teeth as well. That means that belts come in ranges, so you may get one with 100 teeth, 110, 120. And if you're looking for a size in between, you may need to find a new tool in order to accommodate that size. Belts, for the most part, especially when you're replacing chains, can't really be linked or spliced together. We'll have a look at different belt types that are available from Gates to do these conversions. There's Polychain GT Carbon Volt and Power Grip GT4. These are two of Gates' flagship belts, Polychain Carbon Volt and Power Grip GT4. GT4 just launched last year, are our flagship belts in the polyurethane and rubber belt lines. They can be used for general conversions, and because they're static conductive to ISO 9563, can be used in ATEX environments. Mini Polychain GT Carbon. As it sounds, this is a small belt, and these belts are designed for use on roller conveyors. So these, and again, short length Power Grip GT4, can be used to replace chains on roller conveyors and compact drives. Polychain GT Carbon Extended Length. This is going the opposite direction. This is for the replacement of chains or other media on very large drives. Polychain Carbon Extended Length can have lengths up to 20 meters, so it's suitable for very, very large drives. Long length belts. Long length are available both in poly chain and rubber, and they're used on things like linear actuators, sliding doors, vertical warehousing, and those types of applications. Primarily an 8 and 14mm pitch for chain replacement, and these can come in straight and spiral cut. Twin power. Twin power belts have teeth on both sides, and that means you can use these belts on counter-rotating drives. For chain replacement, these are predominantly HTD and Power Grip GT2 profile, and in 8 and 14mm pitch, but other pitches and profiles are available also. And last but not least is Gates TPU range. This is thermoplastic polyurethane, and this comes in a wide range of belts used for conveying and lifting. You can get many different materials, you can backings, you can add flights to these belts, so they are a very versatile belt for chain-to-belt replacement. This is a little bit on the composition of belts. Belts are generally composed of three materials: the body, often rubber in standard ranges or polyurethane, the tensile member, which can be glass fibre or commonly carbon for polychain, and a nylon facing fabric. For rubber belts, it's been very common for historical belts to be chloroprene rubber with a glass fibre tension member and a nylon tooth fabric. High strength belts such as polychain, they have polyurethane body and a carbon fibre tension member. The nylon jacket on the tooth surface gives it good wear resistance and improved tooth shear resistance when it is interacting with a pulley. The last picture there you can see is actually showing a twin power belt. So it's similar to a single-sided belt, but it has teeth on both sides with jacket on both sides, and you can transmit load on either side of the belt. You can transmit 90% of the load on one side and 10% on the other, or you could split it 50-50 or anywhere in between. And these belts have the same rating as the equivalent single-sided belt. This is a little bit more information about our Power Grip GT4 belt. Launched last year, this is Gates' latest rubber synchronous belt. Delivers class-leading power capacity, but not only that, it uses a next-generation EPDM compound, which allows for the application of belts in high and low temperature environments. Its temperature range is from -40 degrees C to +120. And in some circumstances, you can even go up to 140 degrees C for some intermittent time. It's an environmentally friendly belt. Unlike belts, historical belts, it doesn't use a chlorinated compound, chloroprene rubber. It uses EPDM rubber. That means it's much more friendly to the environment and you can more easily dispose and recycle it. The belt has good resistance to chemicals. You can expose it to grease and oil and water in reasonable quantities, splashes, drips and intermittent contact. These belts will not run constantly exposed to these, but they can run when exposed for short periods of time. This belt is static conductive to ISO 9563. That means you can use it in an ATEX area. The next belt here is called Polychain Carbon Volt. This is Gates' flagship belt. World leading belt, actually one of the very highest power ratings of any belt on the market. Over 4 times that of an HTD belt. Can be up to 99% efficient, and again, it will keep that efficiency throughout its lifetime. It's made from thermoset polyurethane in the body, carbon fibre tension member and a nylon jacket. Carbon fibre is an excellent tension member. It has good environmental resistance, good tensile strength and low fatigue, and it also has a good stiffness rating. That means it does not lose tension and the length is stable. These things all translate to reduced maintenance and downtime, and it means that you can have a long, reliable drive. A Chain2Belt is also very resistant to chemicals. That means you can expose it to dilute acids, alkalis, chemicals, and it runs in water. We have some drives that have been running for a significant period of time submerged in water. It's got a good low temperature range at minus 54 degrees C, excellent low temperature range, and it can be used up to 85 degrees C. The Chain GT Carbon Volt Belt is also static conductive. That means you can use it in ATEX areas. How do you switch from Chain2Belt? Well, Gates will supply you with support, application engineering support. We will advise you on how to convert if you contact us. We can come on site, do site surveys when that is again acceptable, and we can take you through the process step by step. We have application engineers distributed throughout Europe, and we can hopefully support you on a local basis. We also have design software. Design IQ is a software which is used to design multi-point and complex drives with counter-rotating shafts as well as single direction shafts. You can use Design IQ software, and then there is Design Flex Pro. Design Flex Pro is a simpler software in that it only designs based on 2 pulley drives, but it has a good feature in that it does have a section where you can enter a standard chain drive and the parameters for that chain, and the software will calculate an equivalent belt drive to give you similar performance output. Both of these softwares are available from gates.com. They're free to download, and we have an ongoing range of webinars where we will tell you how to use the software, or you can contact Gates directly and we can assist you with using the software. Here are a few examples of drives which have been converted. This first one, a classic, the bicycle chain. You'll see in the picture on the left the rusty bicycle chain. Many of us are familiar with that when we don't maintain our bicycles to the level we should. But that on the right is the Chain carbon drive belt. This is an excellent product for bicycles. You can wash it. You can use it with the lubricants you have to use in your other bike components, but this doesn't need to be maintained. Once you've tensioned it, you can pretty much forget it. You just need to wash it down when you wash the rest of your bicycle. This is a roller conveyor. If you have a look, it's a rather nasty roller conveyor with a lot of oil on it. But can you see something strange about it? If you look more closely at the picture here, there is something there that you can see. And that's a close-up. That's actually a poly chain belt running in amongst all of the other chain drives. As you can see, because it's a chain drive, they all need a significant amount of lubrication, and that lubrication has attracted a lot of dirt and debris, but the poly chain drive is running successfully in amongst all of those other drives, and it's resisting the effects of all of those materials. The expectation is to change those other chains to belts in the future. This is a very large chain drive, a 200 by 3. It's on top of a manufacturing site. I think it may be asphalt manufacturing site. And as you can see, if you have a look at the left of the picture, it's very high up. And a crane was actually needed to take that chain up there. It requires maintenance, it requires oil. All of that has to be transported up to the top of that tower in order to maintain that chain. When it was converted to a belt drive, polychain carbon extended length, this belt could be carried up by a single person. The drive also does not need oiling, and it doesn't need retensioning, it doesn't need maintenance. So once you've fitted that drive, you could have years of service with no requirement for maintenance. This is a conveyor. If you have a look, you can see it's a fixed centre conveyor, and this has some poly chain belts on it for conveying drives. This is a twin power drive. That's because this drive has counter-rotating shafts. The chain has been replaced by a 14mm pitch power grip GT2 belt. This example here is slightly different. It's a gear set. Because there's two gears, they're counter-rotating. You can see that this has been replaced by a 3-pulley belt drive. The reason there is 3 pulleys is because you can't get counter-rotation with 2 belt drive pulleys. You need a third idler in order to tension the drive and give wrap round the one running on the back. This is a twin power belt. Advantage of this drive, yes, you may need an extra pulley, but it is a drive where you can fit it and forget it. You can enclose that drive and leave it for, the expectation is for 2 or 3 years lifetime. And last but not least, this is long length belts, vertical lifting and conveying drives. So let's make the switch together from Chain2Belt. My name is David Clark. There will be a question and answer session at the end. I will answer questions in English, and my colleague Lars will answer questions in German. Please feel free to go to our website at gates.com, and please visit our booth at the Hannover Messe, where you can discuss all types of belt questions with our colleagues. I hope you have a good day, and thank you for joining us.